All right, so thank you, Miss Producer. All right, so I was saying we're taking a look at her. We're going to be doing the Dread Wolves today with a lot of dry brushing. We're going to take a look at her, though, from last week. I've done the metal, and when I did the metal, the silver, I mixed in a bit of this green from the cape so that we'd have a little bit of this green on the front. So that's one of the things I did. I still need to, there's going to be a black wash on it and some highlighting. I was trying something new with the leather. I was doing stippling on the leather and trying to get a more worn type leather look. I don't know if that's the best. I mean, I think it's okay, but I don't know. I also did some more work on the skulls. I'm going to do this little crown. I don't know how well you can see that, but there's a little crown on his head. So I base coated it in yellow because I'm going to do it in gold. Then her face, I decided was a little too gray and chalky. So I just put a purple glaze on it to kind of bring the purple color back out a bit. I also put a brighter green glaze on the cape to try to, it was a little too dark, so I wanted to brighten it up a bit. So I just glazed the cape. And then I added a little more white to the hair because it wasn't quite bright enough. So not much left to do. I will get some pictures up on Instagram once I'm finished. But this one is taking a little longer than I thought. But I think it's coming through okay. I don't know. You tell me, chat. Anyway, let's move on to wolveses. Now, before we actually start painting the wolveses, we're going to take a look at some actual wolves to get a kind of an idea of what we want to do here. Now, wolves come in all kinds of colors, so they're not going to be solid colors. One of the things you'll notice about the wolves is that typically they're kind of mostly two-tone. They'll have the darker color on the top and lighter colors on the bottom. So what I'm going to do is we're going to do one that's mostly gray and one that's mostly browns. So and you can see that's kind of the most common colors going on here. Now there are of course exceptions, like this nice pretty brown or black gray wolf is pretty much all black, which is kind of neat, but I don't want to do that because it's a little too dark and I want to try doing something different. Then you've got the white ones and stuff like that, but I'm going to stick to kind of browns, one in browns and one in grays, because that's kind of the most common thing. But we're gonna dirty them up because these are kind of undead wolves, dread wolves. So they're gonna have we're gonna have a little bit of fun with them. But you can see that the coats are not just one color; they're kind of mottled and colors all over the place. And so we're gonna try to do some of that. When I talk, I have no mouth. Okay. Is that better? All right. So I think we got the camera glitching smoothed out. It was like a slideshow last week, and that's because I'm an idiot. And this computer had been moved, and I forgot to hook back up the Ethernet cable for streaming, and I was running streaming off of wireless, which is never good. So hopefully that's way better now. So anyway, let's get on to painting. So I've got my dry brush because we're going to need that a lot. Yeah, so a lot of me looking down. I've got my new wet palette paper in here, and we're gonna get some base coats on these dudes right quick. So we're gonna start with the gray one. Now I'm just gonna base coat the whole thing in gray and brown, and then we'll work things from there. And again, make sure that you wash these models off real good before you paint them to get rid of the mold release, or you're just going to have paint falling off of them. And you're going to frustrate yourself because the paint won't stick. And that's, especially important for Reaper Bones, but really any model you're going to paint, you want to wash it first because there's going to be stuff on it. Finger oils and mold release and all kinds of stuff. Now you may be thinking, why don't you just leave the belly white and not paint? Well, because you got to have paint on it, and it's not white, so we'll just highlight it up from there. Don't worry, chat. We'll make it work. It'll be fine. But you got to get a base coat of paint on this. Now the good news is there's not a lot of flat areas on this, so it won't take as many coats because you can't really tell if it's a smooth base coat or not because there's so many broken areas. We'll probably do 2 coats of base just because you want to make sure you've covered all the plastic, gotten in all the little bits.
Yeah, you look down and you just half your face is gone.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, but people don't want to. Oh, then there's the light. Oops.
Here, let me move the light. There. Is that better, people?
I mean, I would think if you're going to be there, maybe people want to see you and not...
Nah, nobody wants to see me.
Well, they want to see Deadpool then.
Okay. Well, I'll let them see Deadpool. I mean, I can understand that. Deadpool's pretty cool. So, there's lesson number 1, kids, is do not try to stream over wireless. It's not good. I mean, unless you've got some heavy-duty wireless signal, but I mean, I've got decent routers in here, and it's not enough to stream good quality with. So just don't do it. Hardwire your stream machine. That's today's public service announcement. All right, so this coat, we're just trying to get paint on model here and not worry about it. You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to put on some nice background music for you guys, because what ends up happening is I start concentrating on the painting when it gets to the harder parts, and I don't talk because I'm not smart enough to talk and paint at the same time. So once I finish this base coat, I'll put some nice music on for you guys so you have something to listen to while I'm heavy breathing into the mic. There you go, a little preview for you. So we're just trying to make sure we've got it mostly covered, and we'll come back and do a second coat on this once this is dry. To make sure that everything's covered. All right, so that's base coat number 1 done. Now, we'll see if we can find us some Muzak. Hang tight, chat. I'll get there. Don't worry. I've got it in a playlist. Don't worry. There you go. Some Adrian Von Ziegler for you. How's that? You know Adrian. Everybody knows Adrian. Adrian Von Ziegler. Master of D&D background music, man. He rocks. Is that too loud, chat? Or can you still hear me okay? It should still be turned down from last time. I hope. Alright, we're going to go with a dark brown base for this dude.
it could be just a tad quieter.
Tad quieter.
Just because you're not talking that loud.
All right, it's a tad quieter. There we go. So the dude that composes this music, you can find him on YouTube, Adrian von Ziegler. I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce that, but it's kind of weird because I watched some of his videos and he's really young and does all this stuff, and it's quite amazing. Some kind of prodigy or something. I mean, he makes all this music, and I'd guess he's maybe in his mid-20s. So it's pretty impressive. So you'll notice I'm not watering down this base coat as much as a normal layer. I'm barely watering it down at all. Now the wet palette's going to water it down a good bit, but we want the base coat to be kind of thick, not straight out of the pot, because you don't want to obscure detail. But it is a base coat, and the wet palette's going to add a good bit of water to it. And my brush is wet, so, you know, so it's fine, chat. Funny because if you miss spots when you're washing this and there's still mold release on it, you can tell right away, because when you put paint on it, it kind of acts like Rain-X on your car windshield. It just beads right off of it. So I'm thinking about what other colors I want to use on these guys. I think on this dude, like, his belly is mainly going to be kind of a sand color, I think. And on the gray wolf, we'll go kind of close to white, very light gray. And we may mix a little bit of browns into that gray coat on some of the lighter areas, because if you saw on those reference photos, there were a lot of browns even in the gray wolves, and so it just gives it some visual interest to do other cool things like that. All right, so we're gonna go back to the gray.
Quick question.
Yep.
Are you able to see what people are chatting about, say, in Facebook and stuff?
I don't know if Facebook's working yet.
Oh, right. Well,
I'm still having...
Joe Mama said good morning.
Oh.
From your actual mama.
Yeah, I'm not getting the Facebook chats for some reason. I still have to figure out why that's not coming through Restream. It's a little weird. But good morning. Okay, chat, you just got to yell at me if I go out of frame here. I'll try to keep it in frame, but... And I'm hoping this new camera setup is making it a little easier for me to keep it in frame. I think so. Seems to be. Okay, so good base coat on the gray there. That's still pretty wet. This is the fun part of mini painting. Waiting for paint to dry. Yay! All right, let's get a second coat on the brown one. This dude's got a hole in his neck. That's weird, huh? Undead wolf. This is... I thought that was a casting problem when I first got these things, and then I realized, well, they've got ribs showing and all kinds of skin hanging off. That wasn't a casting problem. That was a sculpting decision. So I'm feeling like this paint got a bit thick on his face, so I'm just getting some water, and I'm going to water it down a bit just on the model to get it to sink into the details. Because you can do that, chat. Did you know that? Alright. So that's pretty good. So we gotta wait for these two dipsticks to dry. So while we're waiting for that, we'll take a look at her and get some stuff going here. So I'm gonna get some I need my metal brush. I don't want to use my main brush for metallics because then you get the metal flakes in there and they get hard to get out. Nope, not that one. There she be. I'm using one of my less expensive brushes for the metal because I don't have to do metal that much, and it doesn't need to be as... Now a lot of people will tell you not to put metal paint on your wet palette because the little aluminum flakes that they use for the metallics will seep into your wet palette and all that stuff and junk and things, and I'm not that particular, so I don't care. We're gonna do some metal highlighting. They also say don't dip your metals into the same water. You should have a separate rinse cup for metals, metallics. I don't care. Tabletop quality chat. Not doing things here where that matters that much. I will, however, keep it out of my good brush because those metal flakes will kind of eat up your brush. So I'm gonna take my glasses off so I can see. That's a weird thing to say, huh? So we're just gonna do a bit of highlighting here. So just a bit of edge highlighting. And again, we'd be doing a lot more to this metal if we were competition painting, but we're not. And I'm making this metal really polished and bright because this is a priestess, not a out in the field warrior. So I'm going to trim this brush up a little bit. It's getting some stray hairs there at the top. So you can see the highlighting is just, we're kind of just doing edge highlighting, and it's just bringing out the edges a little bit and making a little bit of contrast and defining the lines of the metals. Looked right out of frame there, didn't I? Sorry, chat. Okay. So, I think that's good for that. I'm gonna put a bit of black wash on it to kind of blend it all together and get some contrast in there. Now with the wash, I'm just putting it on the armor. I don't want to slop it all over everywhere. I mean, you can, but I'm trying to do a little bit better than just slop and wash everywhere. Hopefully I'm succeeding. Alright, so that already has helped because it separates the armor from her hair a bit better. And it does some kind of automatic black lining on the edges to get some separation there. So you know. So I'm going to get a little bit in the ice. That was a little bit too much. Come back out. Back out. I just want a little bit in the eye sockets. And the nose. To define this thing, we'll do the same on the skull on her. Just to define it a bit. Okay. So that's coming along pretty nice. You think, chat? I think she's pretty good. There's a little bit more to do. Got to do the gold up here. And a little bit of highlighting on the handle here. Just to bring that out a bit. And then well, I can go ahead and black wash the base. I'm not going to do much with the base on her. I didn't even really base her. It's just the base she was molded on. But I'm not going to spend a lot of time with basing on her. At least not right now. Maybe I'll go back and do something later. But probably not. Alright, so now the wolfies are dry. So I think what we're going to do, we're going to start with lightening up the bottom. So I'm going to get some... So the base coat was the shadowed stone from Reaper. I'm going to move on to this sky gray. Vallejo Model Color Sky Gray. It's a much lighter gray. And this will be kind of the base coat for the belly. So we're going to lighten up the belly significantly. Now, we don't want a stark line there. We're going to kind of mix it up a bit and pull things up further in some places. And I'm using pretty wet paint here because I don't care if it kind of runs and bleeds. I actually want that. So the bleed of wet, really wet paint is actually kind of helpful for me here. We're gonna let his feet be a bit white as well. His socks, haunches, I don't know what you call those things. What do you call those things? I'm gonna water it down a little because I don't want it real bright. You can see I'm not being real careful with lining the paint here. I want it just kind of blotchy. So it's, I mean, this looks a bit trashy at the moment, but it's fine, chat. You know, there's a plan here. All right. So that's his kind of underbelly base coat. We'll be doing a lot more work on that, so don't worry. Now, we want to get to kind of a tannish color. Let's see. This might actually be good. All right, so I'm going to use this moldy skin. It's kind of a greenish beige. Well, I'll use it if I can open it. Where's my special opening tool? All right, you guys want to see a really fancy paint opening tool? Amazing, isn't it? I know, chat. I know. Oh boy. Might have to completely take this one apart. Why am I so... so dried up in there? Well, you get to see one of the other bits of fun that we have with our paint bottles, cleaning this stuff out. That may be enough. All right, let's see what we got here. There we go. Now we're cooking. All right, so again, we're going to water this one down pretty good. And just get it on here. Same way we did with the gray. So we'll have his head be a little bit brighter here. Know what I'm saying, chat? That's just his markings. That is his way. I have spoken. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. You knew I would do that, chat. Maybe you didn't know I would do that. You should have known I would do that. I really want it out there, but it's fine. It's fine, chat. I'm not going to bring this down onto his feet like I did with the gray. You can see this as it's drying, it's kind of settling down the tone a little bit and starting to look better. Still a good bit of work, but it's blending a little more. Same thing will happen here. Because we're thinning the paints enough, it's a bit translucent, so the base color will show through. Let's see, maybe we make his tail kind of all I'm going to stipple this a little bit to kind of blend the colors around a little more. Okay. Well, back to Mr. Gray. Alright, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna start doing a bit of I think we'll do a bit of dry brush. Now's the time to dry brush before we get a bunch of stuff under it and start putting detail. So I'm just going to mix these two together. We get kind of an intermediate gray. Wipe off most of this on a paper towel and then just kind of lightly brush it over, and it'll just hit the high points and it'll start pulling out some of the detail. All right. So we're gonna get a little more of this sky gray in there, this really light gray, for another dry brush coat. And we're going to go a little bit lighter and more on just the top. And yeah, this is pretty light, pretty bright, but we're going to darken it down with a black wash, so he's going to darken up quite a bit. So it's fine, chat. So we're going to do some dry brushing here too. So I'm going to mix in a little bit of these two colors together. And we're going to do several layers of dry brush here. Well, wiped off too much paint. Nothing actually going on there. Yeah, that's a little better. Don't worry, chat. We've still got quite a bit of work to do on this. I know it looks a little rough right now, but we'll get there. Okay. Go to this just beige color and do a pretty light dry brush on the top areas. Okay. Now we can get some wash on here. So I'm going to black wash this one. In fact, I'll probably black wash both of them. And on these, I'm just going to slop the black wash on all over. I don't have to be terribly careful with these because lots of fur. So we're just going to wash this whole thing. Oop. The paint wasn't quite dry. You know what, chat? It's fine. We've just accidentally wet blended the paint on here, but that's okay because wolves' coats are really mottled and messy. And these are undead wolves, so we want to make them a bit messy anyway. Don't worry. I know this looks pretty bad right now, but we're not done. We're not done yet, chat. Now, the problem is these washes take a little bit to dry. A little bit. No, they take a lot of bit. But you can see now that we've got the wash on here, it's kind of blended the tummy coat with the darker top. So you can still see it's a different color, but it's blended it a little better so it doesn't look stark. And in fact, I think I want to get a little more of this on his belly here. May even go a bit lighter on this under here. I mean, we are going to be highlighting up under here too, but we're just going to stipple around a little bit to kind of model the fur up a bit. Now, this is not, I mean, this is a little abnormal from what you would do with painting a model like this that's more humanoid and cloth and stuff, but it's because there's lots of colors in these coats on real wolves. And so you end up doing a lot of different layers to get all those colors kind of blended in there. Or at least I do. Maybe you don't. You do you. Just saying. That's how I do it. And since I'm just doing tabletop quality stuff, that's fine, chat. Bring his muzzle out a little bit here. So we're going to want to black wash this one too, but it needs to dry up good so that I don't do that again, because now I'm going to have to do a little more fixing on that than I should have had to do. But it's fine, Chad. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I mean, I still think that looks decent. Or will look decent once we get it finished. And this dude's looking pretty sickly, which is kind of the point. So what's going on in chat land while we're waiting for paint to dry? How you doing, chat? What we could do while we're waiting for paint to dry is see if we can get this done up. Let's go to gold. We're gonna get this little crown done here. I'm just using this Vallejo Old Gold color. Oh, don't put the metallics on your same wet powder. Shut up. It's fine. It's fine, chat. Oh, don't use metallics in your same rinse water. Chat, come on. It's fine. You worry too much. Too wet. I hear people whispering outside my room. I hear dogs squeaking toys. We've got a dog this week that is, I forgot what kind of terrier. Wheaton Terrier. That's right, I remember that because Will Wheaton. It's a Wheaton Terrier. And her name is Pretty. Tell me that isn't a diva name. I probably got that a little too close to the camera, didn't I, chat? Alright, so I think I also want to maybe give a little gold on her armor. Maybe some of the rivets. Just to give it a little color. And to carry that gold over into other places. All right. I'm reasonably happy with this thing. For tabletop, I think I can call it done. What do you think, chat? Is it good? Is she good? I mean, yeah, I ain't winning no golden demons with that. But for tabletop, we're good. We'll clear coat that. We'll clear coat her later. But she can go on the shelf. Elf on the shelf. I'm sorry. That was bad. No, it wasn't. It was awesome. Shut up, chat. Don't judge me. So we dry here now. The thing about base coats is they take a while to dry. So I think I'm good to still a bit wet under there. But you know what? It's fine, chat. We don't want clean lines on this, so don't worry about it. You know what? Even if we did, don't worry about it. Just have fun painting. If you're not having fun doing this stuff, stop doing it. It's one of the reasons I would never do it for commission, because then it's a job, and I don't want this to be a job. This is supposed to be a relaxing hobby. Hello, Pretty. She's peeking at me through the curtain. What you peeking at? So I know there are pro painters out there right now that are having just a hissy fit over how I'm doing this and that I didn't wait long enough for the paint to dry. I know. Well, hello, madam. I'll clean a little of this out of here. Got a little wet. Don't worry, chat. We're just still kind of base coating this thing. We'll get details on here later. And we'll clean this all up. Don't worry, chat. Hello. You come up here? Come here. Come here. Come on. Come here, Goofus. There you go. No, come here. Come here. There she is. There's Miss Pretty. Now you can see Miss Pretty. Hi, Miss Pretty. She got this face floof. She has face floof. Say hi. See the face floof? You want to paint? Yeah? No? Maybe? Alright. Oh, sorry. Punched her in the mouth. By accident. By accident, chat. Wouldn't do that on purpose. Jeez. Alright, chat. That's the one thing about washes is they take a while to dry. So, what else can we accomplish? Let's get her off of here. So I can clear coat her and call her done. She's not a main character, so it's fine. So what I'm going to do is I've got a little bit of things to do with we're going to have to switch over to another model because these things got to dry. Right, chat? Yeah. I know, chat. We weren't planning on this, but it's another one that I've got in the works that I want to get done because I think he's fun. So we'll do a little work on this dude. So I'm kind of trying to go kind of a dark purplish black robe with some red trim, and then of course he's going to be purplish. So got to get a base coat on his staff. So we shall do that. I mean, we're not going to just sit here and do nothing, are we? No. Make sure I can see. Kind of weird that you have to take your glasses off to see when you're older. Getting old is just dumb. It's just dumb, chat. And there's a lot of detail in this staff in there. I usually will have 3 or 4 minis on the go at once because I get into these situations where I have to wait for things to dry. And I don't want to end my session because then I have to get up and wash my brushes and blah, 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 blah. So I'd rather just, sit here for an hour or two and get stuff done, because I've got a crap ton of minis I got to get painted. That staff's going to be kind of fun to highlight, I think. There's a lot of detail there. So is the trim on his. Cloak. All right, so I'm going to make his head a lot more bright purple. See, so what's this one? That's darker. Why is that over there? Silly, silly, silly. And we'll be coming down into this amethyst purple for the stuff. But right now, we're going to go with this blue violet. Bet you guys weren't expecting to see this today, were you? Whoa! That was a lot. A little plugged up there. It's kind of like when you squeeze that squeeze bottle of ketchup and you can't get it going, and then all of a sudden half the bottle comes out. You know how that is, chat, right? Good Lord, that's a lot of purple. It's fine. It's fine, chat. Yeah, turning my water really purple. All right, so we want to hair. So his face is way too dark. We want to brighten this up quite a bit. We don't want to get in the very deepest places, but that's one of the issues with the live painting, is there's a whole lot of dry time involved in this stuff. So sometimes you just gotta call audibles, especially when you get to the wash part, because washes are really wet. Yeah, I just didn't like how dark his face was. I needed to lighten this up quite a bit. What color are their eyes, chat? They're reddish? I mean, I could pull up a photo, but I've got chat here, so just let me know, chat. Probably going to go red, just because that'll go good with the color scheme here. So whatever their eyes are, his eyes are going to be red. This already looks significantly better with this color on it. because there was just no color separation between that and the robes. Way too dark. All right, gotta get his hands. Oops. Is that way better, chat? I think so. Way better color. Then we'll bring a little purple into the robes, but much better color separation there. How are the wolves doing? Still pretty wet there. He's getting there, but he could use a little more time. All right, that's fine. We'll keep working on this, chat. Washes are really wet. Yep. All right, so now we're gonna start working towards this amethyst purple on his skin. Put a little bit of this on the palette, and then mix it down. And we want this pretty watery, so we can do good layers. Maybe a little too watered down. Why'd you let me do that, chat? It's fine. It's fine, chat. Wish I had purple ink, but I don't. Water dripping down in there. Okay, getting decent. I'm just going to go with some of this pure amethyst purple. Hello, phone. Nothing important. It's fine, chat. It's nothing important. Don't worry about it, chat. It's fine. So chat, you just gotta know that if I can do this, anybody can do this. This level of painting is more an exercise in patience than it is in talent. I mean, there is some talent, but most people will have this much talent. You just, the big deal is steady hands, decent eyesight, or correctable eyesight, and patience. Oh, sorry, chat. I'm not even in frame there. Told you I get really into the painting and forget that I'm streaming this stuff sometimes. And that there is, you know, this whole frame that I have to stay in. I think I may actually go just a step lighter with this for the highlights. For just the very edge highlights. Yeah, I think I will. So what I'm going to do is get some white. And take this down just a bit, just to get very edge highlights on here. And then hopefully we'll be able to go back to the wolves. Make sure I don't have a bunch of water there because I don't want this color all over the place. So I'm kind of trying to get some lines in here to follow this kind of scaling on the tentacles. And I'm just using the very tip of the brush because I want very little of this color. And we want to really highlight around the eyes because we want that to kind of be the focal point of the model. There. I think that's decent. Right, chat? Is it decent, chat? Looking fairly good, I think. Nice separation of color there. And kind of brings the eye up to the head. So a lot more work to do on this dude. But and maybe we'll do some more on him in a little while when we're waiting for paint to dry. But let's get back to the wolves. All right, Mr. Gray Wolf. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go back to lighten up the underbelly a bit. So we're going to go back to our light gray, sky gray. Get some purple wash water. That's not that bad. We want this fairly wet. We don't want to... We don't want to do too much here. But we do want to lighten up the belly a bit. That's thick enough, yeah. Now this is kind of weird for a model because it's almost the opposite of highlighting. We're putting the lighter colors on the bottom, but that's kind of the way their patterns work in nature. I mean, you saw in the pictures at the beginning that that's kind of the way it was. I'll lighten up his muzzle a good bit. Just to bring some more focus to the face. Pick his ears out some. Now there's a lot of texture on this model already, but I'm going to use the brush a little bit to create some, to do this in lines so that it's not a block of color, because if you look at real wolves, they're kind of like that. They've got lines of, I mean, just mottled color everywhere, so we want this to kind of be uneven. Okay. Now, I'm doing quite a bit more work on these things than most people would probably do for tabletop quality stuff. But it's because I'm trying to experiment and try some things that I haven't tried before, so. And that's most of the fun of painting. So we're going to lighten this one's belly up a good bit too. So we're going to go back to our... I don't think I want the moldy skin. I think I want this desert sand color. A little more yellow than green. that better. Again, we're going to lighten up his muzzle a bit and pick his ears out. And I'm not highlighting here. I'm just trying to kind of define the color patches on the fur. So we're going to make him pretty patchy as far as coloring goes. Sorry, chat. Out of frame there. So, you can see he's getting pretty patchy, which is fine, that's what I want. Lighter colored around his hiney. His tiny hiney. so now we're going to go back in here with some dark reds. Where's my... Yeah, this is a good color for it. So we're going to pick out the kind of fleshy bits and blood and grossness. So I've got this cobalt scale, which is a kind of a dark dried blood type red. Let's see if we can pick out these little spots. Still too wet in there. Still too wet. All right, fine. You guys dry for a little bit. And we will go play with this dude. So I'm pretty happy with his skin. So I think I'm going to work on... I want a dark, dark purple. Like this, imperial purple, yeah. That's what I want for the robes. Because we want to get kind of a purplish black going here. So I want to just use the purple as a highlight. But I don't want it to get very bright. And we're going to do thin layers because I still want it pretty black. You can see I'm kind of pulling the paint towards where I want the brightest highlight to end up, because that's where the most paint is going to be deposited when you lift your brush up, especially if your paints are pretty watered down. There's a boot under there. Did not see that before. So this paint's so thin, it's almost a glaze. But it's because I don't want a lot of real stark colors on this thing. I don't want it to be very purple. So, building it up slowly. And that's probably about as far as I'll go with the highlighting on the robes, because I want them to kind of be sunk in the background. So, I am debating. I had started doing the kind of same purpley black on the outer robes here, but I think I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to get some plain old black here. We're going to clean some things up. Okay. All right, not that one. Got an older black that top was just kind of glued in place, and I don't feel like fighting with it on the live stream, so I'll deal with that later. We're just going to kind of rebase. This and clean up edges and stuff. Now, I really do not like highlighting black. Don't like it even one little bit. But I think I'm just going to have to here. Man, I am doing a bad job of staying in frame today, aren't I, chat? Gotta get another base coat on that staff too. Okay. So we got another base on this staff. Need more paint. More paint. Where to put it? It's over here. Just basic old flat brown. Nothing spatial. So this staff is just going to get, I think, dry brushed because there's so much detail here that I don't need to spend a lot of time manually highlighting all the little curves. That'd be silly when I could just dry brush it. You dry in there yet? Yeah, I think so. All right. Start picking out the open wounds. Wait, this wolf is gross. Make his eyes kind of a glowing red. So we'll just base coat him with the same. A little hard to see that eye. Try to make sure we've got all the exposed bits based. Boy, this poor thing is just falling apart. Yeah. And then got the same stuff going on here. And again, we want to go with the red eyes. Man, this thing has got some problems. Poor puppers. He's just falling apart. All right, so that's already making this model a lot more interesting to look at. Just having all these areas of other stuff. And that's what makes these models fun. Having all these little details to pick out. And the more details you pick out, the more interesting these models get to look at. I think, anyway. I love the little details. Brush is starting to fray a little bit. There we go. Get it back under control. Mostly. Ooh, sorry. Sorry, chat. Hey, FOMO Studios, how are you? Welcome. Welcome, my friend. Yeah, zombie wolves are fun. I've never painted any before, but these are kind of cool. Sorry if I don't respond right away. I have to take old eyes. I got to take my glasses off to see the mini and put them on to read the chat. So, you know, I got to kind of go back and forth there. Alright, how are we doing from a 3-foot view? Pretty decent, I think. I mean, still work to do, but... Alright, so we've got the base coat on there. Let's brighten those. Oh, well, I appreciate you stopping by, good sir. Sir, I'm assuming sir, just because 90% of my viewers are, but... Alright, let's go to Reaper Fresh Blood. So are you mini painter? Or terrain person? Or just all around art fun guy? Thank you. I figured the fresh blood would be probably a good color for the areas of fresh blood. Call me crazy. Well, lots of people call me crazy. I'm not going to put a ton of this on here, but I just want to get a little bit of brightness to these nasty areas. The other fun thing we're going to do is we're going to put some moss on these dudes because they are, you know, dead. So, and also the green goes well with the red, so good complementary color. So we'll bring a little bit of green into the fur just for giggles, you know? Cool. I'm glad you stopped by. I do this and terrain stuff every Saturday morning, so we'll hope to see you around here hanging out with us. You know, just paint and chat and build terrain and talk about goofy things. Say hi to all the dogs, puppers we babysit. I'm starting to like this dude more and more. Also learning how to paint on camera. This is, you know, you watch these mini painters who do this on YouTube and stuff a lot, and you think, why do they say it's so hard? That can't be hard. It's hard. Staying in frame is quite a challenge. And I have to turn the autofocus off on the camera, otherwise it starts just going back and forth, and it'll drive you nuts. So that means I've got to stay the right distance away from the camera most of the time to keep things reasonably focused. And it's difficult. But I'm learning. It's cool. We all like to learn, right? And the details around the mouth are a little mushy on this model. Sorry, did I bump the camera again? Make y'all seasick. So whereabouts are you from, sir? Or madam? Shouldn't make assumptions, but, you know, I do. And yes, I'll read chat in just a second. Because I can't see it without my glasses. It's fine. It's fine, chat. That's what we always say here. It's fine, chat. Oh, he's looking fun. Camera hates focusing. Ooh, 15 mil. That's not a challenge I think I want to take on. My old eyes just, they won't go that far. I'm lucky I can still do these. Vancouver, Washington. I thought Vancouver was in Canada. But what do I know? So Pacific Northwest. Is it chilly up there today? Because actually, I'm down here in Florida. For Florida, it's kind of chilly here today, although it's warming up pretty good. All right, so yeah, I haven't been doing minis. I mean, I've been painting minis on and off since I was a kid, but I'm just a hobby painter. If I can get it looking good for the tabletop at 3 feet away, that's where I'm going. We're not Golden Demon winners here. The real Vancouver. That's right. You tell them Canadians what it is all about. Eh? What it's all about. All right, puppers, what do we want to do to you next? We need to do a little work on this. His face is garbage. His is a little better, but we need to find some facial features here. Raining a bit. Well, I mean, that's kind of standard fare up there in the Oregon, Washington area, isn't it? It's kind of like the UK. It's always raining, right? I think too, I want to, let's get some bone color up in here. I'm gonna pick these ribs out a little bit because I think that'll make it a little more fun. So I'm just using this dirty bone. Dirty bone. You dirty bone. No, that's a different show. Yeah, 75% of the year. That's what I've heard. I was up in Portland a few years ago, which, you know, has nothing to do with you other than it's raining all the time. I managed to go up there when it wasn't raining. I was up there for a week and never saw any rain. Apparently, I just got really lucky. Oh, that's much more fun to look at, isn't it? There's a couple ribs over here. Let's see if we can pick those out without being sloppy. Not so much there. But you know what? This dude's got some ribs. So do you do any streaming or YouTubing? I am so sorry. I keep bumping that camera. Make everybody seasick. Woohoo! I mean, this is probably a level of detail that's not necessary on this, but you know what? It makes it fun. And since we're sitting here, let's detail, right? All right. Insomnia Game Design. Cool. Check that out. I'm gonna pull it up here real quick because I will forget it if I don't do it now. Huh. I'm trying, dude. Bear with me a sec. Oh, Lee Eddings. All right. I think I saw that. I'm trying to pull it up. A, my computer's being slow, and but we'll take a look because I gotta wait for some things to dry anyway. Lee Eddings. Huh. So, Insomnia Game Gear. There we go. I found it. Look at that. Cool. Yeah, I'll check that out. I love seeing other terrain makers. I love watching their stuff and seeing, being inspired by it and things. Oh, that's some neat looking things. Sweet. Yeah, I'll poke around in there for sure. Looks like fun. Cool, cool. All right. let's see what we can do about this face, because it's kind of gross. Problem is, there's not a lot of detail in this model. The model for this thing is a little bleh. Well, let's get a little black and give him a nose, so at least there's some kind of something on his face. I mean, I'm kind of having to make this thing with paint because there is no detail up here, but that'll at least help. Yeah, for sure, man. I like to talk to other crafters and do things and stuff. I did a lot of this stuff back, like I started my YouTube channel like 10-ish years ago. I used to do a lot of this stuff, and then kind of got burnt on making videos because that was taking way more time than the terrain was taking. And so kind of backed off for a while, and then started back to got new gear and new setup, and made life easier in the past year, and started with the live streaming. And I'm thinking about doing some edited videos again, because I've got a much easier setup now. 10 years ago it wasn't quite the technology that it is today. But yeah, I used to talk, hang out, and do stuff with guys like Terrainoob and Garbage In, Garbage Out, and Camloopian. Lots of those dudes, and it was lots of fun. Most of them have kind of disappeared, as I did for a while, but Terrainoholic's still popping around. I had him on the show a couple months ago. We talked quite a bit. He's a fun dude. All right, man. Thank you for stopping by and hanging out. I'll definitely let's keep in contact, and come back for more painting. All right. So I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to redden his mouth a little bit, put some definition in here. And I'm not happy at all with this sculpt, but let's just work with what we got and make it work. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a black stripe down his muzzle, just so we can have some kind of detail on his face. My brushes. It's getting tired of painting today. Could be telling me it's getting close to time to stop the session. Okay, so at least that breaks up that glob on his face a little bit. I'm not real jazzed about these faces. Alright, so the other thing I'm going to do is we're going to get a little flesh, excuse me, a little flesh color here. And a little of this red, and we're going to work their muzzles a bit. Did that come out yellow? That's bizarre. Must not have shaken it enough. Let's try again. There we go. Didn't shake it enough. Alright, don't need a ton of this, but get a little red. I don't want it light fleshy, but I'm going to get a bit of pinky in there. So we're going to do it here. Now we don't want to give him lips. We just want to get some... I'm not got that in camera at all, do I? We also want to do this one as pads. Oh gosh, chat, I'm sorry. Keep hitting that thing. Not sure how I feel about that, but we'll let it dry and see how it looks. Roll this inside the ears. Since there's no real detail on this mouth, I'm just going to see if I can frame it out with this lighter color a little bit. I mean, I just kind of have to because there's no... So now I'm going to use the same color eyes to brighten those up a bit. Because I still want it pretty red. We're going to pick out some places where there's just skin showing, not like muscle underneath. And this isn't actually there, I'm just kind of making it up because I want a little more visual interest on this thing. This model's a little bland, so yeah, I think that's working okay. I'm not liking the face on this one at all. Bleh. Bad face. Alright, fix this up. I don't like that pink on there. So, we are going to go back to, let's see, I don't need these out. Back to our desert sand. We're going to see what we can work up with this. Just gonna have to use this as kind of an edge highlight. Go back to our sky gray here. Okay. So he's looking reasonably decent, I think. He's, that face is horrible, but there's not a whole lot I can do there. It's just a bad sculpt on that. And I don't know if that was just, if the sculpt was bad or if the casting was bad, but that face is just a wreck. But what are you going to do, huh? All right, so I want to try something here. I want to get... Look at this olive green. So this is model color camo olive green. And I'm going to... We're going to see if we can put a bit of moss on these dudes. See how that turns out. I don't know. This could suck. I'm going to water this down pretty good because I don't want it real strong. So pretty thin. And I want to bleed off a lot of the water off of my brush. I don't want a bunch of stuff going everywhere. So we're just going to try to get a little bit of this green in here in a couple of spots. Like I said, I don't want a lot. It'll just be a nice complementary color for the red and kind of give the impression that this dude he's been around for a while and he's all, gross and dead and got stuff growing on him and it's nasty. I don't know, just thought it would be a little fun to play around with that. I don't know. What do you think, chat? Is this a dumb idea or is this fun? It's actually turning out quite a bit better than I thought it would. So that's nice. I mean, that could have just screwed up the whole model, but it didn't. Yay! See, sometimes it pays to experiment. There's a spot of missing flesh that I missed. We'll have to get that, chat. So unfortunately, the detail on this model is a bit sketchy. So I'm going to chalk that up to a casting issue, because Reaper is, even with the bones, and I mean, because of the material, they can only do so much with detail, but they're usually really, really good. So I'm going to think that this was just a casting issue. I just got a little unlucky with what I ordered, but not horrible, just not the best. Yeah, I kind of like that. It kind of does a lot to bring interest into the model, I think. What do you think, chat? Is it good? It's good. He's good. It's good. All right, we'll do that to this dude. Don't want a bright green, because that would be, just weird. Because nothing else on a zombie wolf is weird, right? I think this just helps bring a little color into this thing, and kind of helps the reds be there. Do I sound like I know what I'm talking about? Because I don't. I'm just making up stuff. I think this is kind of helping the mess up here too, because it gives me a reason to just make it kind of blotchy and goopy and cover up a lot of these problems with the thing. I don't know. What do you think, chat? That was kind of fun. Kind of a fun thing. Alright, so let's go back and get this. Can I even find it again? Where's that spot? Was it on him that I missed it? Or on him? I honestly can't remember. Oh, it's up there. Yep, got it. His skull's showing through a bit. So, what we're going to do is we're going to get our red. My paintbrush just being a butthead. This is good because this brings a little more attention to the head. I'm just going to get the red undercoat there. And then I'm going to have some bone. This is just his skull because there's not a lot of meat there on your head. But we do kind of want it outlined. There. Oh, that's more fun. All right. Oh, that was a mess. So, I think those are decent. I gotta do some bit of base work on them, but I'm not gonna worry about that today. But I think I'm actually pretty happy with how that turned out, especially with the mossy stuff on them. That makes them a lot more interesting. Yeah, happy with those. All right. Okay. And we got some good work done on this dude. And we got her finished off. So all in all, pretty good day of painting. Yeah, he's looking a lot better. He's still quite a bit of work to do on him, but oh, that skin is so much better. Right, chat? All right. So it's time for me to go wash brushes off and put my paints away and get some lunch and give my old eyes a break. So, yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Next week, we'll be taking a whack at this little were-rat dude. Having some fun with him. And we will probably be coming back and working on this guy a little bit more as well while we're waiting for things to dry off with the were-rat. But this will be the primary focus next week. And then the week after that, we're on to the big Ankeg. Woo! That'll be a fun one. So, well, the were-rat might be lost now, but whatever. It's fine, Chad. It's fine. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Thanks for coming and hanging out. I really enjoyed these guys. I didn't think I was going to have as much fun with them as I did, but I like them. I like them okay. So I'll base them up. We'll get some pictures up on Instagram. Yeah, make sure you follow us over there on Instagram so you know when I put the pictures up. I've been kind of slack on it, but I'm getting better. It's fine, chat. Also, you know, like, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know what I can do better. Whether it be camera setup or painting. Because, you know, I'm just a hobby painter. Can always learn. So mash all